Hello everybody, it's Mr. Wessner and I'm back for another Mr. Wessner's Read Aloud, and this one you may have noticed right away looks a little different because instead of holding a book like I normally am, I'm holding a Chromebook laptop. So one of the cool things about the time we live in is that we can consume literature any way we want to. There's so many different ways to read a book, so many different ways to read anything really. So it's not limited to just a paper copy of a book. You can also, of course, read ebooks, and that's what we're going to do today. This happens to be one of my favorite read aloud stories, at least from our reading book, from our reading anthology in 4th grade, and it's called Dear Mr. Winston. So it's just kind of a fun, funny story, lots of humor in this one. So sit back, enjoy, and if you have the book, of course, as always, follow along. Dear Mr. Winston, from When I Went to the Library by Ken Roberts. Dear Mr. Winston, my parents said that I have to write and apologize. So right away we're starting this out. It's a letter. Okay, so a little bit of a different format too. Dear Mr. Winston, my parents said that I have to write and apologize. Dad said he's going to read this letter before it's sent and that I'd better make sure my apology sounds truly genuine. So I am truly, genuinely sorry for bringing that snake into the library yesterday. My parents say that what I did was wrong, even though the cardboard box was shut most of the time. And there was no way that that snake could have escaped if you hadn't opened the box and dropped it on the floor. My parents say that it's my fault for having brought that snake into the library, and I truly, genuinely apologize. But I still don't know how I'm supposed to find how I was supposed to find out what kind of snake I had inside the box without bringing the snake right into the library so I could look at snake pictures, and then look at the snake and try to find a picture that matched the snake. I told my parents something that I didn't get a chance to remind you about before the ambulance took you away. I did come into the library without the snake first. I left the box outside, hidden under a bush, and tried to borrow a thick green book with lots of snake pictures. You told me that the big green book was a reference book, which meant that it had to stay inside the library, and I couldn't take it out, not even for 10 minutes. My parents say I still shouldn't have brought that snake into the library, and that I have to be truly, genuinely sorry if I ever hope to watch Galactic Patrol on television again. My parents picked Galactic Patrol because it's my favorite show, although I'm not sure what not watching a television program has to do with bringing a snake into the library. The people at the library say you hate snakes so much that you won't even touch a book with a picture of snakes on the cover, and that is why you won't be back at the library for a few more weeks. If you want, you could watch Galactic Patrol. It's on at 4:00 p.m. on weekdays on Channel 7. There are no snakes on the show because it takes place in space. Did the flowers arrive? Dad picked them out, but I have to pay for them with my allowance for the next 2 months. The flowers are proof that I am truly, genuinely sorry for having brought that snake into the library. I hope the people who work at the library find that snake soon. Did they look under all the chairs? Man, so the snake's still on the loose, as far as we know. It's another thing I like about this story, how we kind of find out more about what happened as the story goes on. That snake isn't dangerous. It's a local snake, and there are no poisonous snakes in Manitoba. The people at the library say you know that too because that was one of the reasons you decided to move here. I bought that snake from a friend. I paid 1 month's allowance for it, which means that that snake has cost me a total of 3 months' allowance, and I only owned it for 1 hour. Mom says I don't have to tell who sold me that snake, so I won't tell you either because Dad said he is going to read this letter. Besides, I don't want you to be mad at anyone else when I am the one who brought that snake into the library yesterday. I am truly, genuinely sorry. I want you to know that I didn't plan to show you that snake. I didn't mean to scare you at all. I knew where the big green snake book was kept. I put the box on a table close to the book and tried to find the right picture. I looked at a picture, then at the snake, at another picture, and then the snake. I did that 5 times and can tell you that the snake inside the library is not a python, a rattlesnake, an anaconda, an asp, or a cobra. Anyway, I was surprised when you wanted to see what was inside the box because I didn't ask for any help, and there were plenty of people in the library who did need help. Dad says the fact that I had said nothing instead of a snake is proof that I knew I was doing something wrong when I brought that snake into the library. I am truly, genuinely sorry, even though my friend Jake Lambert promised me that the snake I bought from him is perfectly harmless. She revealed who she bought it from anyway, even after she said she wasn't going to. Whoops. I did tell you that I didn't need any help, and I did have a snake book open in front of me, so I don't know why you insisted on looking inside the box if you are so afraid of snakes and everything. I don't know why you picked up that box before opening a flap either. If you had left the box on the table and maybe even sat down next to it, then maybe the box would have been all right when you screamed and fainted. You wouldn't have fallen so far either if you were sitting down. Did you know that you broke out in a rash after you fainted? I thought that a person had to touch something like poison ivy to get a rash. I didn't know it was possible to get a rash just by thinking about something, but my parents say it really can happen. I think maybe you did touch something. Maybe when you were lying on the floor, that snake slithered over to you and touched you. Did you know that snake skin feels dry, not wet and slimy at all? I just thought of something. Maybe everyone's looking in the library for that snake, but it's not at the library. Maybe it crawled in one of your pockets or up your sleeve and rode with you to the hospital. Wouldn't that be funny? Why don't you get one of the nurses to check? If it's not in your clothes, it might have crawled out and might be hiding inside the hospital someplace. I think people should be looking there too. Ooh, what do you think Mr. Winston's going to think when he reads that? I am sure you will be talking to the people in the library to make sure they find that snake before you go back to work. I hope they do find it, even though my parents say that I can't keep it. If that snake is found, could you ask the people at the library to give me a call? I would be interested in knowing that it is all right. And if they do find that snake and do decide to give me a call, could you ask them if they could compare that snake with the snake pictures in the big green reference book before they call me? I would still like to know what kind of snake I owned for an hour. I am truly, genuinely sorry. Your friend, Kara. So the end. I don't know if Kara's letter is going to make Mr. Winston feel much better, but at least she tried, I guess. And even though she kept saying, I'm truly, genuinely sorry, it sure seemed like she was still blaming Mr. Winston for a lot of what happened. But that's the story. We'll talk more about it soon. But for right now, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.